Welcome for the viewers to the viewers at home. America, Europe, and the world beyond.
Is there a world beyond America and Europe?
There is a world beyond. This is
What other countries are
this
there?
is the M for Malte podcast. M because it's an M, and for because it's for Malte. That's what it's about. Today we got Nora Murray.
So the M is not for Murray?
No, M is for Malte. In this case, the M is for Malte. But generally, the M obviously is for Murray because that's how Murray. Am I pronouncing it right, Murray?
Murray.
Yeah, that's what it is. So glad to have you here today.
Me too.
We had a couple. For obviously we can fill in a little bit. We had a couple like eventful days. We are also collaborators and creators of music, and let's go all the way back. Let's just do a little detour. I'm just gonna open chat here because we are also streaming live at the same time. To Kick is our platform of choice, and I believe we're also restreaming to a couple other platforms, but Kick is what we're currently on to. This is okay, let's turn this off. This is the Kick stream here. Kick is a new platform that you guys should check out, kick.com. Let's not get sidetracked here because this is going to be the Burning the Midnight Oil version, but let's dive right in. So
yes,
how
we're
did we meet?
coming up on 0 o'clock. It's literally 0:00:00.
We're fine. I think you're flying out tomorrow, right? Yeah.
I will not sleep tonight. Probably, maybe I'll try to sneak in an hour, but that's how it goes on travel days, and I'm okay with that.
That happens. Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby says hi. Bobby Benjamin.
Hello?
Hello.
Sweet.
Welcome to the stream. No, but let's start. Where did we meet? We met at Bonnie McKee's 4th of July party. Shout out to Bonnie. I think it's phenomenal, the music that she's putting out right now. It was the release party of Slay. It was obviously like the 4th of July party, because that's what we were there for, to celebrate 4th of July. But she kind of conveniently bundled it up with the release of Slay. And we met Nora and I. It was me and my friend Alex. We were close to leaving. And then Nora
Showed up out of the blue.
We met at the photo booth, at the 3D photo booth.
And yeah, I'm just the kind of person that will go up to people and start conversation. And I think I was just kind of captivated by the glasses.
Yes, Alex was wearing these I wanted to say heart-shaped. Either it was
glasses.
heart-shaped or it was triangular-shaped glasses. And my friend Alex was wearing them, and then we started chatting. Did you have a little dog with you?
Oh my gosh, I was
Wait,
dog sitting that weekend. Yeah, so I had a dog with me at the party.
I remembered that correctly. That's crazy, yeah.
The only person with a dog dragging him around with me on the 4th of July.
Oh my god.
Because why not, I honestly, after that party, I feel like he was like getting out of the car drunk. And for him to walk back into the house, I feel like he was just like stumbling. And I was like, whoa, did you eat like acid off the floor or something? Like, holy shit, you're not my dog. But that was fun.
Yeah, and then we had a little, we kind of just morphed into like a little impromptu photo shoot. And before that, we talked about the state of the music industry, which is, in times of inflation and 2023 post-COVID, the state of the music industry is quite an interesting subject. We can dive into that later, but let's go first. You make music, and you're from Music City, and you grew up there. Why don't you take us and the listeners at home a little bit throughout, because that's something that I would be actually very, very interested in. I love Nashville. Lived there for a brief period of time, but I'm interested by the people in Nashville. You guys are so highly musical. You grow up in, I went to some line dancing thing up in Franklin and stuff like that. You guys are like surrounded by this like tradition, and in your music I also hear that tradition. Obviously, like, you're making different music that's not like commercial country music or like traditional country music in bluegrass or whatever, but I can hear that sort of like those roots, and I can hear those like musical inclinations that come from there. So how was it growing up in Music City?
Yeah, so honestly, I, I feel like my journey to music didn't really blossom until I moved to LA. I just want to start with like when I was a kid, I came across an acoustic guitar and I just remember it was like love at first sight. But I believe it was my cousin at that time where he was just saying like guitars for boys. And in my mind, it already created that first block. And I was probably like 8 years old thinking like, what? That's not fair. Like I want to play guitar. Why is guitar just for boys? Um, and then, yeah, fast forward at 14, I want to say my parents moved into this house in Nashville, and well, we moved like probably like 12 or 13, and there was this doorway in our basement, and it kind of looks like a dark hallway. Open the doorway, there was a guitar, brand new in its case, in there. And I remember seeing it when we first moved in, and I thought my dad put it there. By the way, no one in my family plays music, but I was like, who put this guitar here? And forever, I thought my dad just kind of tucked it away there so no one would touch it. So what I would do is like go down into the basement, take the guitar out of the box, play with it, and then I'd like put it back in like it was never touched with the wrap and everything, and then put it back in the closet. So for a minute I was doing that, like, try not to get caught that I'm touching this guitar that I thought was just hidden there because it wasn't, I don't know who it was for. And then eventually I feel like, my dad saw the guitar or whatever, but no one's ever said anything. So I think I came to the conclusion that maybe the people who used to live at the house before left it there. But in my mind, it was always like a forbidden thing that I just shouldn't touch or whatever. So I would say, like, in my household, I wasn't encouraged to pursue an artistic path. I've always leaned towards an artistic path, but my parents were trying to get me more onto like the science side or like real jobs. Cause yeah, when I was asked when I was a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said I want to be an actor. And this was when I was a kid. That was like the first thing that I was drawn to. And then when I saw like music, I was like drawn to that. When I started reading, I was drawn to storytelling and writing. And when I was 10, I was like, I want to write a book one day. But it was always those three creative outlets that kind of like lured me in. And yeah, but I had a lot of blocks around music. I had a lot of fear around the vulnerability that comes with writing music and sharing. And I didn't really have that encouragement from my family to pursue an artistic path, but my soul and my heart wanted that so much, and so I couldn't like shove it away for so long.
That's interesting that you say that. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be like a universal thing for parents across the globe. I mean, the vast majority to be like at first skeptical of their child wanting to pursue a career in acting, entertainment, like music, because
Yeah.
it is, yeah, if you just, I think, thinking about like the idea of like, oh, let me be an actor, let me be a musician, that's like it's very hard to like just make it as that. You almost just, what I mean, it's very like nowadays. I think if you have like a little bit of like a technical aspect with it, if you say, hey, I'm also like good at video editing, I have a
Mm-hmm.
couple of these other skills where I'm maybe able to make ends meet for a little bit, providing services. I think that's something that works. But most of the time, like, parents, I think, always just think about, oh my god, like this is, like you have like, because there's always these like, have you heard this too, like these things of like, my dad would say like an equivalent thing of like, well, there's only so many teams on the NBA, right? It's like it seems to be like a limited. They're saying, oh, there's only so many like artists that can be signed by a major label and that can be put in top rotation. And to be fair, I think that was probably like right for a long time. But nowadays, times have changed, and there's the internet.
Yeah.
And I think you can be creative in the way you try to like
Mm-hmm.
put yourself out there, but you gotta be like proactive. So that was like you grew up, you got into this, and then did you go to college for? Well, did you go to college? Did you not go to college, or was there like another like schooling kind of thing involved?
Yeah, so when I started school, I my first major was in science because I was like, okay, if I can't be an actor or a writer or a musician, I guess I'll be a veterinarian because I love animals.
Oh, that's awesome.
uh, yeah, and so I was like, okay, I'll pursue this route. And starting out, first, I befriended someone who was also studying vet, and he was much older. I always used to like just befriend people of different ages. I always like gravitated. Doesn't matter. It didn't matter if they were like 60, 50, 40. Like I was that kind of person that just befriended people of all ages. So I befriended a veterinarian, and I remember him telling me, yeah, it's going to be like 10 years of school, and then after that I might have to open a practice. And after he put that information in my head, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like thinking about like the long run of this route of as a veterinarian, I would have to be in this for 10 years. I don't know what the economy is going to be like in 10 years. Like, can I trust going down this path and not having to be stuck with loans and actually like having a job when I've done all this work? So this is my brain at like 16, like thinking like long run about this path and just mainly doing it because I couldn't pursue the artistic path because my parents were like, no, pick a real job. Pick a real job. And it's like, oh, I guess veterinarian is a real job. But yeah, luckily I switched up my major when I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm just going to switch it up and I'm going to do creative writing and minor in music. But that I feel like just stimulated my creativity, like my mind and my writing, and yeah, taught me a little bit more about music because before then I was just kind of teaching myself YouTube and try not to get too frustrated jamming on the guitar. Yeah.
That's so cool. Like being, cause like like for me personally, when I grew up, like it was like, oh my god, I got to do this music thing. But now being older, I'm like, wow, I actually would consider other like professions, and I think that can be rewarding. Obviously, once you kind of come out of your teenage years, your rebellion
Mm-hmm.
as an artist or whatever, you're like, oh, like yeah, like I think that would be like amazing to be like if you could dedicate like a doctor. There's so much you
Mm-hmm.
could learn, or like a
Yeah.
chef or something. And I think it's almost like it's kind of sad that we only like have this one lifetime and we can't just like outlive all these like
Mm-hmm.
different professions that we could have done. That's crazy. Did you like work extendedly in that field for a little bit, or like also like what are your favorite animals to work on if you had to work on animals?
Honestly, the veterinarian path was short lived because the first year of college, you're just taking the standard science courses, like chemistry and biology and
Yeah.
anatomy and whatnot. So, yeah, I didn't really get to tap into the veterinarian, what is it like? Yeah, the classes that specify around that. That takes a few years. But I will say, after about a year starting that way, I had an idea of like, you know what? I'm gonna study skincare because I can get my license in a year, and as a backup for my like when I'm pursuing my artistic path, I can rely on aesthetics to fund, my journey. So I did that for a year. I was like, somehow convinced my parents. I'm like, yeah, let me get this license so I can start working as I'm, going through school. And so I did that, but knowingly, my plan was like, I'm going to get my aesthetics license and then I'm going to start pursuing acting and I'll have a job in aesthetics. So, yeah, mainly my first goal or like what I stepped out into first was acting, was like auditioning and getting into acting classes, and hence why moving to LA. And
And what year was that? Like circa.
that I moved to LA in the end of 2015. So yeah, I just kind of, after I got my aesthetics license, I'm like, all right, let me like get a car. I didn't even know how to drive. Learned how to drive, got a car, worked, saved up some money, and drove out to LA. And
that's quite the drive. That's cool. And how, like, let's talk about LA in 2015 for a second, because in LA in
yeah,
2015 was a different LA, and it was like an LA where everything was sort of still working. We didn't have like communities or like scenes that were like, the music industry was working, probably like the acting industry, like there was no like, COVID obviously brought like a lot of self tapes from home and stuff. So like
yeah,
back then you wouldn't like shoot your self tapes at home. You would probably like, or auditions even, and you would like, I think probably like walk in a lot more, right? So that you would
mm-hmm.
meet a lot more people. I feel like nowadays it's weird because everybody is
yeah,
doing their stuff from home.
yeah.
So how was that? So you just kind of like just got here, and then was it easy to meet people, or how did that work out?
Man, I remember when I first moved here, and Friday nights I would be like at home watching a movie, and I have this thought that's burned in my memory where it's like, I can't wait till I like make friends here so I have places to go on the weekend. I just remember like having that thought. But I will say, yes, going to auditions, like I've met some really good friends going out and auditioning and having that experience, and acting classes too. um, I think in general, being someone that was really shy and reserved, classes like that really helped me get out of my shell. And but I still wasn't comfortable like being vulnerable or like really expressing emotion. That was something I always hid like within me. Like I suppressed all of that. To like express my emotion was like kind of scary.
Hmm. And then how did you like are you still, what is the process of overcoming that? Have you overcome it? Are you still overcoming it, or?
Yes, now okay, it's been a journey, and I will say music, when music kind of, I started to like step into that aspect, I started to process my emotions more and sit with them and slowly like open up that bottle that I've just kind of been shoving down and letting emotions rise. Music really helped me like create a safe space where I could share. And that was something that I noticed from the beginning. When I first started picking up guitar, I would go down into the basement, and that is where I just was letting out my emotions. I was just talking about whatever I was feeling because I didn't really talk about my feelings with my family. I kind of just like was very reserved in that way and kept to myself. But to really like release what I was feeling, guitar is what helped me, writing is what helped me, and those were like my outlets to speak freely and express.
Yeah, I mean it's like, I think it's an ongoing, I'm just like, as you say that, I'm just like thinking, where am I currently on that? And I think it's an ongoing journey as a songwriter. You will
Yeah.
have moments or parts of your life where you're very in tune with yourself. You can access your emotions. Like, it's kind of like just diving into a pool. You're like right there.
Yeah.
And then there's moments like right now, like, I personally feel the way as in my emotional songwriter, where it's like kind of, when you have a pool or like a whirlpool, you have the hard cover on. It's
Yeah.
like right now, it's like the hard cover has like 3 layers. So we gotta, like, the pool is not. You can't just like open the patio door and just jump in the pool. Like, we gotta, let's get the hard cover off. Let's put it to the side. Let's make sure the temperature is right. Like,
And then
and then we can go in. And I think that's partly because I had to like just get into like the business side of the music industry, like, and I kind of just had to like um or I've had to like really learn about that. I had to like take a fast and intense like sort of detour.
mm,
And it's very, when you make deals in the city, it's like it's a shark tank. It's very,
mm,
the sword comes out. And in
yeah.
that thing, you can't be like, there's no vulnerability that you can have. Like, if you're trying to make a deal, like, you're literally, this is like you're at war with the other party in a way. Like, this is ruthless. um And I think until you have found like I have a great like people that help me and advise me. Shout out, like, but until you actually have that full trust that you can just let them do their thing and they have you taken care of, that takes years. Not because they can't do it, but just for me to like come to that conclusion that I can trust my lawyer, that he does the right thing, and I don't have to like.
Yeah.
And I couldn't like sort of like control it or like check it anyways because I don't have this like. Yes, I can read a contract, right? But like, there can be stuff in there that is like, even if I read through it, I'm not gonna. You're gonna miss it, because it's like that's the whole like part of like the whole lawyery, like it's like really that's that thing. It's like it's part of trying to like not deceive people. What is the right word? I mean, to put it nicely, it's like the fine print, like. You could anything that's in fine print, you could technically also say in plain words, but then it like wouldn't, be sort of yeah, it is deceitful in a way, is it? Like, but what nicer way than deceitful? Like, deceitful has a very negative connotation. It's like in a competitive way they're trying to get you, maybe,
I think they're like, if you're not paying attention, like,
yeah,
yes,
they're really
yeah, we can slip you one, but I guess it just encourages to be more aware of what you're signing off. And of course, as someone who's busy and like you're just like, I don't want to read through all this fine print, this is a bit too much, it's nice to have someone, a second pair of eyes to kind of like make sure you're not missing anything. But yeah, I want to know about you and your expressing of emotion. Like you said you still find it difficult to expressed in your music?
No, not like, I mean, I'm saying like you go through times. There was a time when I was like writing every day, and it was like literally like diving into a pool. I was like instantly I can get my best ideas out, and that just comes with like doing it every day. I just like don't have. I think it's important. We talked about that in the session today. Regardless of the fact that you have great like co-writers, it's important to write yourself. If you're a writer, you gotta write yourself every day, and you have to finish the songs completely yourself, because when you write yourself, you will have to like wear all these different hats, right? You gotta check the lyrics, you gotta check the melody, you gotta check your harmonies, you gotta make it very appealing, you gotta check your concept. Then if you're in a setting with a co-writer, like some you can like kind of like delegate that a little bit, right? And that can be nice too if you find a great team. You may be able to write a better song than you would be able to do by yourself, writing by yourself. But I think it's important as a writer to constantly say, hey, what are my strengths? Like, how's my lyric writing? How's my melody crafting? And then work on that, right? And then if you can't finish songs by yourself, then most of the time one of those departments is not working at the moment, right? So like, and then if it's not working, what I found is, and how I get back, is to sometimes just finish a song, even a really bad song, right? If you can't find a lyric, just make up a really bad one. Fill up, but just so you finish the song, right? And then even though like it might never get rewritten, or the song is just like, but it's like kind of a workout, right? It's almost like there's certain things you gotta do, and you might never want to revisit that song, but at that time it's just important that you finish that second verse and don't leave it,
I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that advice. There's something about completing something as just like, it's satisfying for the mind to be like, okay, I've sealed this one.
Yeah.
And you can always come back and rewrite.
Yeah.
I've realized that too. It's just like, as long as you feel something, have something filled there, you can come back to that song, you can work on it again, and you can tweak it in a way that like works best for you, better for you.
Yeah. And sometimes it is like, sometimes if you're like onto something like really great, I mean, I have songs that I've like half finished from like 10 years ago. I know they're really great, but it's just not the right time for them. And sometimes you gotta finish something really fast, and then just because and that can be great too, because you kind of just like, you can't think too much, and you kind of just get in the flow of things, and like write a full song in like 1 or 2 sittings. Generally, I think like if it takes longer than 3 sittings, like it has to be something really special for you to pursue that. You know what I mean? Like for me, there must be something. I rarely just like, I feel like it's kind of like at that point you're like animating like a dead body or something. I think normally like a song comes out like naturally, like the most, I think I don't know. I think it's pretty fair to say like most songs come out in 1 or 2 sittings, right? So you have that initial thing, you get it, and then the next time you kind of have it dialed in.
Yeah.
Um, there are occasions when you when it takes longer, but
I really like the aspect of like collaborating with other artists because it's just nice to have different perspectives and someone else come in and kind of like mesh ideas. And some people have, yeah, different strengths when
yeah, and bring that
playing into
because
that.
it's yeah. There's no writer that has ever lived in a world that was perfect in all departments,
Yeah,
you know.
no way.
And then a lot of times things are do become like greater than the sum of the parts, like the Beatles. You know, it's like
Mm.
there- there's I think there's like bands and stuff where like once they broke up and did their solo thing, it was still great, but they couldn't quite go back to like this thing that where it was like greater than the sum of their parts. That when you like look at everyone individually and then they
Mm.
split up, like that was great. When it was like a thing. When the band wasn't split up. I mean, there's so many great bands out there, and then the band dynamic too. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work out. Um, but the bands that do stick around, man, it's like just so amazing to see like such a band of brotherhood. Yesterday we talked about Coldplay, and Coldplay has been around. And they're still a band, and they haven't dissolved, which is that alone is a feat. And
Mm.
on top of that, being successful, it's like, bro, that's that's something.
Well, I think if you can work with a band, it showcases like your ability to like be good with like teamwork and just kind of like when you're joining forces, you're able to like really like build something stronger. I think just in general, if we kind of take that initiative and like work with other people more so than try to do things by ourselves, which is something I had to learn. I always was like, no, I have to do everything by myself. Like, don't ask for help. And resisting that, I think, was just like a setback for so long. I really had to like realize, wow, like, wait, what's wrong with like working in a team setting? Like, why do I have such a hard time doing that? And why am I just trying to do everything by myself? That takes a lot more time. It's like the work is not going to be as great because I'm not going to have strengths in all departments. And yeah, to ask for help and like be like, hey, let's join forces and like create something. It took me a while to like step into that.
Yeah, I mean, collaboration is like it's a fickle thing, and it's like, I think what I learned, like, it took me a while too to like really grasp the thing, especially in Nashville on co-writing. But what I learned is that whenever you collab with something and make something completely different, it doesn't take away from the thing that you're doing. I think a lot of young writers, they're like, no, I can't. They come into the co-write expecting they need to write, with writing a song for them or for someone else, and that is like creates like this adverse reaction to them. I have a lot of young writers that like once you kind of just like want to write a universally good song that is not necessarily fitting to their style anymore, they get really freaked out.
Mm.
Um, because for them it's like the vision is that they as an artist want to succeed and all that sort of thing, and they don't have the capacity yet to say, hey, I can also like do this thing here and then create something here that can work for something else. Like kind of like we did today. Like this is like a song that you wouldn't probably put out as your solo thing, but now like we all came together, we collaborated on it, and it's like everybody's strength is like kind of represented. It's like cool, something cool. We made something like completely unique with like a song and a style that normally like your vocal coming on top of that is like bringing something so like fresh and unique to it, and it exposes now a whole like other like people that normally listen to EDM. They're like, whoa, let me now I'm gonna like put on Nora when I'm on the road trip, when I'm like at
Yeah.
home at night, when I'm doing my dinner. I'm gonna put on your record, your acoustic record, your like that
Mm.
sort of thing, right? um
Yeah.
and the same way maybe like somebody that likes your music is now coming to this, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, like if I want to like get ready and party tonight, or like do this, or
Yeah.
go to a club, like maybe that's it, right? So everything like serves its purpose, right? And like
Yeah.
closing yourself off from that is like saying, oh, I would never do this or would never do that. But there's always like there's so many like there's
Yeah.
moments for everything.
I really like that I'm stepping in a department that I haven't like dabbled with before, cuz but I think in the past when I've sat with people to like work on an EDM more so project, I was like, yeah, like this isn't really like the style of music I care to do. But now I'm like, it's fun to step out of what you usually do and try something
Yeah.
new and collaborate with people who do something different. I mean, even if I was in a room like trying to do like a rap song, I'd be like, let's go, let's see my freestyle skills, and like what works for it. And I think there's always something beautiful that can be curated if you're just coming together and like really like bearing your soul and yeah, doing it for the love and making some magic.
I mean, that was kind of for me when I started doing it. That's what I want to do because I have been in both worlds, and I was like, hey, I could actually take the acoustic singer songwriter role by the hand and just kind of just like, hey guys, look at this. Let's go here. Let's explore this, right? In a way that I can say, but I understand you. I know where you're coming from. I'm one of you. It's kind of like I'm one of you, and I've read. I'm like acoustic singer songwriter folk. Like that's sort of like up my alley too. But then we can go here.
Mm-hmm.
Um and hang out here for a second and like break down the barriers. I think like I'm so tired of like this genre defining thing, and it like I wish I want to like wish there's somebody who can make a big EDM album and then track 7 8 are like completely acoustic. Why not? Like
Yeah.
who says like.
Yeah,
And
why not?
yeah, exactly. Like why can't there be a banjo on like an EDM record, on a house record?
I think it's time to like really bring like fresh ideas to yeah, like
Yeah.
certain genres of music and there it's like, "Oh, this is how this genre is. It should be like this." When you can be that artist, creative who's like, "You know what I'm feeling? Like I'm going to mix this and that and like that's just what I'm feeling and I'm just going to do it." Because art is supposed to be wild and messy and kooky and an expression of what you're feeling. So like, why should we polish it to a point where it's like machine like? I
Yeah, I
know.
don't think it's machine. Like I think there's like a lot of uh, the stuff that is sort of being fed by like corporate is just because it's convenient and there is no people. See, the thing is like if you make like a big major label record, like that's obviously a major label always said it amazing and they're like so creative and all sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But there's also a thing where like yes, the A&R has a mortgage and has car payments and needs to like the kids want to go to college and X and Z was successful last year, so let's sign this that sounds like X and Z, and that they think their chances of success are a little higher, and that they can make their shareholders happy. Because really, if you look at it again, like if you look when like major labels went public, I want to argue that like some of like yeah, it was that is actually the defining moment when they went public where artist development got the short end of the stick. And before that, Bruce Springsteen wasn't like successful until a few albums in. When he really, like you had time to like your first the record didn't have to be like completely like commercially successful. You could make cool music or experiment a little bit, find your artistry, and that just like isn't possible in that top major label rotation anymore. Like
Mhm.
obviously in indie, people are just like budgeting their own records together and then trying to do that. And I think that is where a lot of great art is being made. But it's tough, it's like you just you get less shots. So that is like a defining moment. But I think um yeah, the whole that therefore like the whole music industry as a whole like had to take a turn, because now everybody also in the lower ranks also had to sort of follow that and be a little bit quicker with like turning out music. I mean, nowadays look like there's artists, there's DJs that they release like twice a month, and it's like very more single driven. Like it's less like I personally don't remember the last time I like just took an album and just like put it out and listened front to back. do it sometimes with vinyl, but like
Well,
back at
unless you're like really a big fan of that artist, you're
yeah,
just
but
gonna be like, I'm going to listen to this album from top to
yeah,
finish because you already have a connection with that
but
artist. You're
yeah,
already a fan
but that's
or
also
whatever.
how like kids now consume music. They have Spotify. When I was young, I would take the bus. I would get like what euros or go get your $1.29, euro 29. Take the bus to a record store. They still had like actual just complete record store, or you had like something like a Best Buy or something in Germany that had a huge record section, like a department store that had like a
Yeah.
record section, and you would be like, oh, like next so and so, like the next Strokes record, the next Kooks record, or like MGMT record, or whatever it was came out. You would save up from your like pocket money or whatever, like the $10 or whatever, 9.99, 12.99 for or 14.99 for a record, and you would buy it and you would listen to it on repeat and actually like listen to this record like over and over, and it was like such like it belonged to you. You had that copy, and you just didn't have like such a huge record collection. Sure, like your parents had a record collection and like, you wanted to check that out sometimes, but you were building your own record collections, like 4 records, 5 records, like and then having like a little CD box and stuff, and you would listen throughout them. Like nowadays, I would really be interested, like how are kids like consuming records? Sure, they're probably like still listening to the whole album, but I think it's a little bit like devalued now that you can just access everything, right? It's not like,
Yeah.
and you might just like make a playlist and stuff.
It's definitely more special when you went to the store and got a CD because that CD is like gold and you were listening to it over and over and
Yeah, and you
worshiping that
went through the
artist.
booklet, you went through the booklet and the art, like you were consuming. Like nowadays, sure, you check them on Instagram, and you check
Yeah.
their pictures and stuff, but it was something about this booklet where, oh, over there, let me just actually like talk about booklets here for a second. Why not? Here, so we had this like,
Oh yes.
this is not my absolute favorite record of his, but it's great. But anyways, but you had like a booklet, right? And then you could you had a booklet, oops, and then you would go through and you would like, there were lyrics, and like this was like you would touch it. This is like an experience. Nowadays, what do? You go on your iPhone. It's like, it is weird. It's different.
And the album's dropped and here it is.
Yeah, no, but there's no like touching. I think that's why maybe like the whole vinyl thing and stuff like that is coming back. It's really like, obviously we're in a digital age and it's not going back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just gotta make merch that is more like inventive and cool. But I think it is tougher to just like portray your like also like visual thing nowadays as an artist, because you don't have those sort of booklets, or like you also don't have like kind of like the whole Rolling Stones article and stuff. Like I used to have a Rolling Stones subscription, and like not Rolling Stones, but Rolling Stones, and there was like a guitar magazine or some kind of other and you would pay like $3.99, and you would have this subscription, and then you would read about it. Nowadays it's like blogs, right? Like, do you check out any blogs?
Not really, to be honest.
Or how do you find out about new artists, and then how do you like research them?
Discover weekly on Spotify.
Hmm.
The Discover playlist, usually like I'll stumble upon an artist or friends who share an artist, or like, check this person out. I'll listen to their music. Yeah, a big thing I really love doing was like just turning on like MTV and watching music videos. I've always been such a big fan of music videos.
I love music videos, and I love
love them so
MTV.
much.
MTV like top 40, and these like the moderators in between, like gossip a little bit or whatever it is.
Yeah, that I still have a strong obsession with music videos, and that's something I'm like, I wish we could get more music videos and where they're creative and there's a story build up, and I get really sucked into them. I don't really watch much TV, but like for me, it's like if music videos are on, like my full attention is gonna be like sucked into that. Have you made any music videos?
I've made some music videos. They're up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can check them out. We've had some funny things. We had some dance videos. We had some music videos wearing like weird costumes. We had some some road trip videos. Like yeah, it's
Mhm.
out there.
I think
Yeah.
it's something special to, yeah, like if you have a vision behind a song and to create something and share that with people. I mean, everyone's going to have a different visual based on that song, but I guess it allows you to feel closer to that artist when you get to see a story of theirs and they're in it and they're singing it. And yeah, because different people are drawn to different forms of art. Like some people are more visual, some people are more like sound, and you get to pick and choose. Like, oh, I think someone will appreciate the song more if the visual like pulls them in. So I think it's really cool to create something like a music video, which is not as common. I think it's coming back like a little bit more, but now music videos are more simplified where the artist is standing and singing. But I'm like, what about the story and
Yeah, but
all the stuff?
you know why that is?
Tell us. You
Because
know.
there's just not the money anymore. Like think about Thriller. Like think about like that was a
Oh yeah,
movie. That was
Thriller.
like a huge production. So I think like it's just like
Yeah.
to make like these multi-set music videos that are really elaborate and story like and like almost like a movie. That's really expensive.
Of course. Of course.
And yeah, that's why we don't have that sort of like cash flow in the music industry. I don't know. Maybe we should ask Napster.
Yeah,
I
can
don't
we get
know.
more cash flow in the music industry so we can like bring back music videos,
Yeah,
have them be consistent and as creative as something like Thriller?
it's the music industry is like really if you think about it, it's like, oh wow, this is actually blocking half of my face. If you
Yeah,
think
like
about
half
it,
my
it's just
face.
it's a really small industry. No, your face is actually not. Your face is actually is perfect. It's just like this side of the.
Wait, I can grab my tea better from this angle.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, shout out to the room decoration with these poppin' colors.
Oh, you like it? That's all me actually.
I know, Malte, you
I
got
mean,
that
I'm
down.
just no. Okay, so here's how like. Oops. Where do we put this? How do we get it behind it? I just should get it out of the frame. No, I mean this is just like I just. Yeah, it's just like very like random. What is like? Oh, this are things like of my that daily like this is like a surfboard that I actually rode, and now um I was just like, oh, before I break it, why not put it there? And then just started writing different ones. We got this is here. Shout out to Tim Greer. He's an amazing saxophonist. I met him through a Craigslist deal. He sold me this Disney TV.
That's
Um,
so cute.
yeah, you just gotta find like cool weird stuff. We got a typewriter. Um, we got some. We got other cool stuff in this house, but not in the set. But we got some vintage chairs. Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging that. We can't even see the leopard, the pink leopard. I wish I could get more cloth. Like I love this. Yeah. If I could find it again.
Yeah. Well, the pink really makes its appearance in this house through your decoration.
Pink is my favorite
But
color.
yeah, so yeah, I wanted to know, like, is it because it's your favorite color that's why you put it
Why that
behind
is?
your like logo and everything?
Yes, and there's a story to that actually. I think. I think like pink is my favorite color, but really how it started, and this is a true story. How this all started. Like I must have been like I want to say 15 or 16. 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
We had to like my room and my parents' house, like we had to like repaint it. So I woke up one day like way too early. My parents came in, said Malte, the painter is coming today. What color do you want your room? Your brother said blue or something. And I just rolled over and said, just do my trolling. Like I'm a troll. Like for people that don't know me, I'm a total troll. So just make a pink, and then because that was like the most rebellious thing. I said that they're not gonna do that. Like my mom's gonna be no, there's no way we're gonna paint this wall pink or whatever. And I think it was just my dad, and he was just like, yeah, sure, like, how do you want it? Like, power pink or, like, jokingly, whatever. And then they went through, and I think the painter, too, like, the guy who was painting it was, like, so annoyed by the color and was, like, commenting the whole time, like, And then I had a pink.
Probably like, what a disgrace. He wants pink in his room.
Yeah, it's something like that, and then it was pink, and then that's cool, and then I had to like, there's actually a picture somewhere. I had a piano in there. We could put the picture somewhere. I had a piano in there, and then a friend of mine, she is so cool. I should find this picture really. If I can find it. She painted like on top of the piano, sort of like a burlesque sort of singer with a microphone on it, like in black.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like pretend you had like an upright against the wall, and then she was just drawing over it as if there was somebody sitting on that upright, like singing in a jazz club.
That's sexy.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and yeah. And then
parents approved of this.
I think we just did it, and then I don't know, like or they were. I think my parent. No, I think here's the truth. I think they were like. I was like then eventually gonna go to college, and then they were like, yeah, like they knew like, oh, we have to paint over this pink anyways.
Yeah.
Right. So then they were like, whatever, just do whatever.
Just let him do.
And then they painted over it. And it was so cool. And one time, like I think I came back junior, freshman year or something from college, and then it was all gone. Here, it's right here. Let me find it.
Yeah, I feel like. I don't know. I feel like my parents were chill about like whatever color I wanted in my room. There was no questions there. And also, growing up, like, I feel like I got to like just experiment myself and be like, oh, I want to paint it like these two colors, and got into doing a little bit of house painting myself.
Oh, you colored yourself? Yeah,
I used to like get into like remodeling at home just because I wanted to. I don't know. I love change. I always loved like dyeing my hair.
Oh, here it is. That's.
Oh, on the wall. That's nice, actually.
Yeah, and then we have another picture. Then the piano.
They're not gonna see that.
The piano came under it. Oh, here you can see it. Oh yeah. So that's like then this is when it was like painted, and then the piano was put under it. We'll find that picture too. Anyways, yeah, that's how the pink started, and then pink is punk.
Pink is punk.
Pink is punk. I think, and also like I was like, why is it supposed to be reserved just for girls? Like, it's a free country. Let me have my pink.
Your rebel side came up early on.
Yeah, and I think the pink girls can wear blue or whatever, and guys can wear pink. Like,
I always loved blue. Like since I was a kid, blue and green have been my favorite colors. They are still my favorite colors, and I don't think I really wore much pink. I never really cared for it.
Yeah. I mean, not
I didn't really even care. Yeah.
I don't wear. The thing is, like, I never wore like pink shirts or pink sweaters or anything that much. It was always just in these like, my logo or like weird little extra things. It's like I don't really have like I don't wear like pink polos or like pink,
I could see like a pink leather jacket going on.
Now you got me inspired. Wait a second.
Yeah, you need to get you a pink leather jacket.
I have
Take it up.
I have a black leather jacket with a pink rose on it, like that is from the Phantom of the Opera. You know the Phantom of the Opera thing, where the guy has like the white thingy dingy and then the rose through it.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that, but I need a full pink.
That's the next step.
Yeah, I need a full pink situation.
We'll know you from like a distance. Just that like strong
just the leather jacket, just
pink.
The strong
your brand.
Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next in the life of Nora? So you were in LA for a couple of days here, and then you were where do you reside right now? You still residing you're residing everywhere? Like you were just before you were in Seattle, right?
Before I was in Nashville, but I was in Vancouver this summer.
Or Vancouver. Tell me about. I've never been to Canada.
Oh, yes.
Tell me a little bit about the. I've seen you had some pictures there in your forest, and oh my God, that must be like Canada must have such great natures.
Oh,
bears?
My
Have
gosh.
you encountered any bears?
I haven't encountered any bears, but you can see them. There's a hike out in it's called at Grouse Mountain. At the top, you can see these two grizzly bears, but there's a fence around them, and they're always up there hanging out. So That's the only time I've ever seen bears. Luckily, I do spend a lot of time in nature. I love going out to the mountains. I will say the nature in Vancouver is really what always keeps me coming back, let alone like the friendships I have there, the community aspect of it all. It just, the spiritual energy of Vancouver, it's just like something there also feels like home. So I'm have these three cities, like a triangle of places that I enjoy spending time: Nashville, LA, and Vancouver. And it's like I have just bits of my soul family scattered around those cities, and which keeps me going back. So I love being in Vancouver in the summer. I feel like for any nature person, it's just such a beautiful
And
city.
how? But you're a citizen, United States citizen.
Yes, unfortunately,
No, but how does it
unfortunately,
how does it work? Do you
you can go
no
right
for
in.
you guys? But it's you. I'm German citizen, so like you can just go over. I would have to get some kind of visa from the Canadian embassy or something, right? Or they have tourist visa. You just pull up at the border.
Yeah, I believe they'll just have a visitor visa for anyone, but for the American, we can just sign this arrive can 3 days before entering, and it's super easy. You can hang out there for 6 months or
6 months,
three
nice.
months.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, 3 months is if you come to the States. I think on the yeah. 6 months
yeah,
would be very generous. So it would be nice.
yeah. I don't know because I've never stayed that long. The most I've stayed at a time was probably like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I considered moving to Vancouver, but I don't know if I can tolerate a really long rainy season. So, but other than that, it's just such a beautiful city, and literally you have the water, the city, and then right behind the city is the mountains. It's just like so scenically beautiful, takes your breath away. Like, so yeah. If I can combine Vancouver, Nashville, and LA, that would be my spot.
Okay, I think I'm sold. I think I have to um go to Vancouver. And
Yeah.
what's like how's the music scene out there? Is there any like folk music scene? Any like what's going on out there?
I would say the music scene is quite scattered in a way of like you'll probably get a mix of indie artists, a little bit of rock. I feel like country is something I don't really find out there, which is okay because I'm not really seeking it out. Um yeah, I feel like the music scene can't could expand out there, and there could be more music things. I haven't found too much in music there. Typically, I've been able to find more so just, yeah, smaller events when it comes to music. And yeah, there's singer songwriter scene, there's writers rounds and such, and there's people who do live there. And I feel like it's growing. I feel like it's slowly growing because if you notice, like the cities that people tour, Vancouver started to become a new one that I started seeing on like the tour lineup, where they started including Vancouver this year or last year. Vancouver started to show up as like where artists will stop on their tour. Have you noticed that?
Hmm.
Because I just noticed that word. I'm like, they're going to Vancouver now. Like that wasn't usually a city that people would stop for their tour, but now I guess since it's such a growing city, a lot of people are moving there.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
like what bands do is probably like they just have their analytics and their metrics, and then they just if they put up a venue there, and if they book out, they're gonna go there. You know.
Yeah. So I would definitely give it a go. I would say EDM's also a scene there, and rave. You know, the rave party scene is going out there. So that kind of music
Hmm.
to cater to
Mm,
that vibe, the party scene. Um, it's out there. But
maybe it's time for me to check out. It is time for me to check out Vancouver. Plus the
if you so desire, yes.
yeah. Huh.
Snowboarding's awesome out there.
You snowboard?
Yes.
I snowboard as well. Yeah, it's like snowboarding. Like spent a lot of times in the German Alps, and like snowboarding and like sort of like winter sports are really important to me. Just it's just like resets you in such a like nice way, it's and it can be so immersive. Like surfing is cool, you go out for a couple hours, but like you can literally on a winter day you can be out there for like 8-9 hours.
Yeah, full day.
You go out there at 7 and then you come back at like 5 or something. um and the snow is such an element for me, like just wading through the snow, like being in the back country, like building like a little kicker, and all like
You like cold
it's
weather?
yeah, I like cold weather, but I'm saying like I also like I love this sort of aspect of just like not just snowboarding, but like being on the mountain and snow, like because I know the mountain obviously when it's summer when there's no snow and it's beautiful as well, but there's something about this like snow winterland,
Yeah.
and the physicality of wading through the snow, of like having to push it, and like there's nothing like you would never be so beat than if you waded through a backcountry and like been like powdering all day, like because you're like feel like a knee deep snow, you know what I mean, like this is like that's a workout.
Oh my gosh, it's so exhausting, but so rewarding after
And
a
you
day in the
sleep so
mountains.
good, right? The sleep after is perfect.
You sleep so good, and the food you eat after always tastes so good.
Yeah, it tastes so much better.
It's like doing a really hard workout, and then you'll eat. If someone puts food in front of your face, and you're like, "This is the best food I've ever had," but it's just because you've worked for it.
I wonder how our winter is gonna be this winter, especially now that we had the craziest winter in like what 10-15 years.
Yeah, I
And
heard
Mammoth
it
had like
snowed in LA.
we and Mammoth was like we were up there a lot, and it was like it's just so good. The skiing was so good. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we coming up on time?
On time.
Yeah, for like how long?
We're burning the midnight hour. I mean, we can. I've been kind of keeping the podcast episodes sort of in like
A flow state?
no, just like a digestible. Is it digestive? No, it's like digestible.
Amount of time.
Digestible,
Yeah.
like just around like the hour to 90-minute mark.
Okay, cool.
But we're not. Time is time. We're good on time. Are you good? Are you tired already, or?
I mean, I love sharing stories and hearing about people's journeys. So it doesn't take that much effort. This isn't like singing, or
Yeah.
we
can
chill here.
We already sang today.
Yeah, I honestly, sessions with you are very enjoyable, where I'm like, I will burn this candle until it's at the very bottom because I just want to keep going. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. Creating with you is fun. Yeah.
It has been fun, all because of that fateful night.
The fateful night. You guys, you never know who you're going to meet. Like, go out there and talk to some strangers, compliment their freaking
It has
glasses.
been. It is, and it's like, but in LA, it's like extra special because isn't it such an effort in LA to get anywhere and to go out that much? Like in Nashville, I was out at a bar or at a house or at a friend's like every night because it's a 5 to 10 minute drive. It's like whoop, you park on the street, you do this. Like here in LA, it's like you gotta hop on the 405, you're hopping on the 101, like a 5-lane highway. Your cortisol spikes heavy. You're like
the stress behind it.
Then you park, you try it out, you get your car broken in. Like if you but
you might get your car towed.
Jesus Christ, it's just it's really it's very taxing, and that takes such a toll. Like in Nashville, like we used to pull up in East Nashville at the buddy's house. We parked the car on the front lawn, like it's Gucci.
Yeah.
Here it's like you gotta getting towed, or you're not getting towed. Like
I've had those experiences where I've gone out to hang out for the night, go to party at some place, park my car somewhere, come back, car's gone. Like what? Forgot to check the signs. Hey, if you're ever in LA, double, triple check those signs. I learned that lesson. I think I paid so much in like parking tickets, getting my car towed. You can say I learned the lesson the hard way. Maybe now I've kind of caught up to like, okay, maybe once or twice a slap on the wrist and I'll change, but
I mean,
stubborn.
I think it's time to check out the bar scene again. Like unfortunately, a lot of my favorite bars in LA closed. Like, rest in peace. My favorite tiki bar was in West Hollywood. It was called Lono, and they had a DJ, and they had this projector on the wall. I mean, now it's like it sounds like the ancient times. Nobody remembers Lono. And now I went back there and I had tears in my eyes. They had graffitied all over the entrance and like the shopping window, the outside windows and stuff. And I was like, it's sad. Lono was so nice. So that this thing they were making these like amazing mai tais, like my mai tai recipes. Um, I learned all these tiki drinks from them. And like what they were doing with the Mai Tai is they had a macadamia nut spray that they would
Ooh.
spray on top. And I would never get it. And I kind of just kept watching the bartenders. And they were always spraying this thing. And I thought it was some kind of bitter or some kind bitter or whatever. And then at some point I found out it was a macadamia nut spray. And that thing was so tasty. Um, those were the good times. Now it's closed. It went bankrupt or whatever. And but they had a DJ there. They had a popcorn machine. Yeah, so many great times were had, and I had a lot of friends that were also sharing that sentiment. That was their favorite bar. So that thing closed. Um, what are good bars in
Good
LA?
times at Davy Wynn's. Have you been there? I mean, that's a standard.
Yeah, it has a certain crowd. It has
Speakeasy.
a huge line, and I gotten like many psychic readings out front from a palm reader because like the line is always so long that sometimes you get
What?
stuck
I've
there.
never gotten a palm reading from
Yeah.
a psychic. I used to go there all the time with my best
Yeah,
friend.
there's a psychic out there, and she just tells you, obviously, like, I don't, it's
Was
wild.
the
Like,
reading ever
whenever you do
accurate?
it, like, I always think it's, like, a little suggestive, but whenever you do it, I get, like, completely mesmerized and, like, yes, that all about what she's saying about my
Wait,
life is right.
have any of the readings ever been accurate?
Well, it's mostly, like, I think just, like, very vague stuff for the most part, right? Where it's, like,
Like the fortune cookie on the fridge?
yeah, it's sort of like, I'm seeing that you're close to a breakthrough in your life. It's like it's just stuff like that where it's like, it's just like suggestive. So you wanna believe it and you wanna
And you're like, here's a tip.
yeah.
Because you just like
No, but no.
brighten my
I'm
day.
not against like palm reading by any means. Like
Yeah.
I think it's fun and please don't yeah, I can't speak to that. I mean this is like if we would know if there's like psychic abilities are real, like I don't know, the opinions digress. But yeah, David Wayne's nice. Then obviously the whole Santa Monica has some great bars. A lot of college bars. Victorian is sort of like this kind of like a USC college bar in a way. It feels that way at least. And then you got the bungalow, which is fun. I actually personally think that the bungalow in Huntington Beach is more chill. Shout out to Huntington Beach. I love Huntington Beach, just how chill it is. The way this is called Surf City for a reason. Music City, Surf City. What is another city that is known for something? Mile High City in Denver, but like it is really like Music City is Music City, and in Huntington everyone's a surfer, and it's like Surf City, and they have surf every day. It's like where else could you surf every day? It doesn't mean that it's great surf every day, but it is great surf every day. It is some kind of surf every day. You surf?
I've tried a few times. I've had a few lessons and
Keep going. Let me refill my water. You got a few lessons?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, when I was a kid, surfing was actually something I've always wanted to get into. And living in Nashville, I was like, okay, like when I'm older, I want to move somewhere close to the beach and I will be going out surfing all the time. That didn't happen. I moved to California. Probably took like 2, 3 lessons out here. I've also lived, I mean, I've lived briefly in Sydney, and before moving out there, I was like, oh, I'm going to surf all the time out there. I'm going to live by the beach. I remember going out there and just watching the surfers.
Bonsai Beach.
Yeah, Bondi Beach.
Bondi, not bonsai.
Watching the surfers, the waves are insane. It's so intimidating that it took me probably a month to even go swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, no, it's hard. The current's hard. You can get sucked out to sea really easily, guys. Be careful.
Yeah.
I have broken a rib out in the surf before and had like 6 to 8, 10 foot. I have lost my board. I've nearly drowned. Like it is dangerous, guys. Don't be fooled. And I've over the years had to like reconsider many times like how I want to approach this because I like surfing and like it's necessary for my well-being, but at the same time I can't be a pro surfer and like have that sort of rigorous like training schedule and be out there every day. So like it's tough to like keep yourself fit for when the big days are coming when you can't surf every day. It's a very dangerous sport, and it's like it yeah, it's very dangerous, you know. Much more dangerous than winter sports, anything, just because of the possibility of you drowning even in small surf. And just even for very experienced surfers, it's just like and also like a lot of times it's just like you could get hit by a board, you know. It's very dangerous. But the feeling you get from a great wave is like it's like Benjamin Button. It's like reverse. It makes you feel like young. It makes you feel like
Invincible, probably.
invincible. Yes, just that connection that you have with nature when you're on that wave. It's like everything. Like you forget everything. It's kind of like really just this like complete tunnel. And every surfer that has like their like top 5 ways, you go back to that. You just like like it's like as if there's no gravity, you know. It's a crazy feeling, unlike anything else. A lot different, like like you don't get that same thing from like snowboarding. There's other sensations you get from snowboarding, but not like that. It's just such a crazy force, the way the way the water is pushing you, and creating like just the way you're creating space on the right too, just the way it has to align sort of, you know, the sandbank and the beach, like, you know, there's so many different waves, you know. Like it's nothing like the mechanics are also different. You know, if you have a shore break, you gotta ride it completely different than if you have a longboard wave and all that sort of thing. So it's like mechanics can be like quite different. But in the end, it's a board mechanic, you know. So if you're a good snowboarder, like try it out. It's not too far fetched. And if you're a great surfer, you shouldn't have any issue really diving into snowboarding.
Cool. So, since it's like 1 a.m., I wanna wrap up a little bit early.
Yeah, well, let's wrap up. We can skip we had the rapid fire question situation yesterday. So we could skip it.
Yeah, I think.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm in very mellow headspace, and yeah, I think at this time.
So, quickly, what's next? What's next? What are the next moves for Nora? Where can people see you, find you, interact with you? What are the next things? Like, what are your next ventures?
Well, I'll be in Nashville, for some time, and just as of, I don't have any like grand escapes or anything like that. I'll just be in LA and Nashville for the most part this year. I do get out and I play writers rounds. I do get out and I co-write, collaborate with people. Have been kind of like, this is the year that I've been stepping more into that since being in Nashville, and it's kind of like a big thing out there. And yeah, I'm working on releasing music again. I kind of took a break from that because just I needed to step outside of, I guess, the grind and like get back to self. I feel like it was important for me to get back to center, and so I was doing that for a while. But yeah, I'm feeling pulled and called again to create and share and connect with people, and music really helps me do that. So I love it.
Hell yeah. And that's exactly what we did. We got 2 songs now on tape that are probably gonna come out by the end of the year. We'll figure out how we're gonna release schedule that. So that goes in line with what Nora just said. She creates and we created a bunch of cool things. That was wow. Just it's getting late, guys. I need some more water here. Anyways, let's do this again.
Yeah,
let's
we're both
close
pretty
it out.
tired.
Let's close it out. So this was a burning we'll just call this Burning the Midnight Oil. I actually think that could be like a whole podcast series, like just the late night. We'll do one. We'll find another title, but this was Burning the Midnight Oil Part 2 with Nora More. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to shed a little bit of light on all these unique stories from all these different.
We've barely scratched the surface.
Yes.
I feel like with you, I want to get more in depth, and I want to do more parts in interviewing you. So
we'll
future.
do a Nashville version, or we'll do a nature version in the forest of Vancouver. I think
that'll be incredible.
I think that's what we should go for. Next one is gonna be in the forest of Vancouver. For you guys at home, if you're just about to start your day somewhere in Europe, do that. Make yourself a coffee. Get amped up. I'm glad you guys stuck with us for all of our listeners on the Western Hemisphere. Over and out. This was Burning the Midnight Oil.
Bye.
Bye.